Hey guys, I'm back and today I'm doing my August/September wrap up. Hey guys, so the reason why I'm combining these two videos is because August was a tragic reading month. It was so bad, and September was actually kind of good, so we're just putting these both together. So yeah, let me start off by the book I read first. The first book I finished is How to Make Friends with the Dark by Kathleen Glasgow, and I tabbed this book and it was such a good book. I gave it 4.5 stars. This book made me feel everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was so sad, and like, it's such a good book, y'all. I recommend it to everyone. This book is about a girl named Tiger, and she recently lost her mom, and now she's just kind of navigating the world without her mom. And her mom were super close, and it was just her and her mom against the world, and now she has to figure out how to do it on her own. And it's so sad, and trigger warnings for this book, and it's an incredible book. Okay, next was probably one of my favorite books I read this month, and it was Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. Tabbed up this baby, and oh my gosh, you guys, this book has been getting so much hype, and I think you already know that. And this book it's just worth the hype, and it's worth everything. And it made me laugh, it made me cry, it made me like feel warm inside, and I just love this book. If you don't know but this book is about the first son of the US and Prince Henry falling in love, and it's just so good, and I love the way they dealt with all the issues. Loved it. 5-star read. The next book I read was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and this book I rated it 5 stars. I've seen all the movies and I love the movies, and this book was just exceptional. It made me feel things, you know what I'm saying? And it just gave me so much more detail, and I loved it, and I loved the characters, and it was so good. The next book I read was Mickey Falls 1, the first book in the series, and it's called Spring, and it's actually a graphic novel manga. And this book, okay, so this book is about a girl named Miki, not sure how to say her name, but this new guy comes to town, and his name is Hero, don't know. And he's like dark and mysterious, and Miki wants to find out like why he's like that, why he doesn't talk to anyone, why he doesn't have any friends. So she keeps trying to be friends with him, and he's like, no, I can't be friends. And it turns out there is something more to him, and it was so good. And when I read the back, it led me to believe that there was going to be romance, and it was going to be super cute, this new guy in town, and there was some romance, and I really did enjoy it, but the synopsis led me to believe something that wasn't there, but I still really enjoyed it. I gave this book 4 stars. Then after that, I read The Pianist by, don't know how to say his name, and I really don't want to mess it up because this was such a good book, but this book is about him surviving the Holocaust in Warsaw, and it was so good, so heartbreaking. But I actually rated this book 3.75 stars for the sole reason of it couldn't keep my attention. It just, for like a couple pages, I'd be like, oh my goodness, and then it would like lose my attention. And I wanted to love this book so much, and I love the movie, but the book, it just, I don't know, something about the book, I don't know. Still a really good book though, recommend. This next book I read is Curiosity by Paul Jenkins, and I actually DNF'd this book. I made it like 100 pages in, and I couldn't do it. This book is about a guy named Will, and nothing exciting ever happens in his life, and then he meets Mr. Dinsdale, and Mr. Dinsdale asks, because Will is a private investigator, so Mr. Dinsdale goes to Will and asks him to help him find his box of levity, and levity is the opposite of gravity. And Will's like, you're lying, like that doesn't even exist, that's not a real thing. And you know, it is. And so Will goes on this quest to go find it, and I love the concept of the book. Like it just sounds like such a good book, but it just didn't do it for me. It didn't do it for me. Okay, the next two books I have to talk about are actually DNFs. So the next DNF is Dread Nation by Justine Ireland. And this book, I made like a way through it. Like I almost got done with it. I made it to page 308 and then I had to put it down. I was listening to this on audiobook and then reading some of it, but mostly it was on audiobook. And this book has two parts in it. And the first part I loved. I loved the first part. It kept my attention, but the second part, it just couldn't keep my attention. Like I was just thinking about other things and I was doing other things, and it's not like I wanted to think about other things. Like I wanted to get into this book so much because it's such a good book, but I just couldn't. So this book follows this girl named Jane, and this takes place in like the Civil War era, and there are shamblers on the loose, which are kind of like zombies. So now she and her friends have to go kill these shamblers, and that's all I really remember from this book. Like it was a good book. It was a good book, and I liked the concept again, but I don't know, but it wasn't working. And the last book I DNF'd is Call Me By Your Name, and I love the movie, kind of weird, but I loved it. And I read this book and I got to like 120 pages, I think, and we were just living too much in Elio's head. Okay, wait. So this book is about a guy named Elio, and his dad is a professor, so his dad always has interns come over for the summer. So this year's intern is a guy named Oliver. I almost forgot his name. His name is Oliver, and then they strike up a little romance between each other. And in the book, we're just too much into Elio's head, and I didn't like that. It was strange. And the way the book was written, I didn't care for it either. And it was like, don't get me wrong, like it's a good book. I know a lot of people love it, but it just wasn't my cup of tea. And the last book I finished is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera, and I tabbed up this book and I actually flew. I read this book so fast. It was so good. I loved it so much. It was a 5-star read for sure. If I could rate it any higher, I absolutely would. This book, okay, so there are two main characters, Mateo and Rufus, and in this world you get a phone call on the day that you die, letting you know you're dying. And so there's this app called Last Friends, and it's where people go and they make their last friend. So they both signed up, and they're just kind of living, and it's so great to watch them kind of like grow in their last day. And I cried so hard, y'all. Like, I'm gonna put up the video for my Snapchat. Guys, like that book, it literally made me ugly cry like 3 times. And I loved it so much, and they strike up a little romance towards the end, and it's a slow burn romance, but it's so good and so worth it. Definitely if you want to see more from my Snapchat, add me. But yeah, such a great book, and I would recommend it to everyone. It's so great. I love it. I literally could talk about this book all day, but I'm not. Okay, that is it for my August-September wrap-up. Not too bad, not the greatest. Hopefully October will be a really good reading month. And if you haven't, go watch my October TBR. I'll try and link it somewhere, but knowing me, I'll forget. So just go watch it. And that's all. And I love you guys. And I'll see you next time.